Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here with a little bit of a Christmas update for the Cold Monk build. Now, if you've been following along with the build guide, you'll know that we've been using the polcirkeln ring in order to get some absolutely tremendous explosions and clear, and it's just been a lot of fun. Problem is that that ring has gone from being a one exalt throwaway to being like a one divine, if it's got good rolls, style ring. And so unless you're chancing on sapphire rings, it can be a little bit of a pain to get these. And so with this update, we are not using polcirkeln ring. Instead, we're using the power of Herald of Ice and Thunder. Let me just kind of show you what we got going on. Wow, loot right away. So enemies still explode a lot like they did with polcirkeln. Note that I am using Unbound Avatar right now to kind of help out with some of the chain reaction. As you can see here, the clears are still very solid, very good, but maybe a little bit less than polcirkeln. Okay, that was not Unbound. Oh, that was maybe still no Unbound Avatar that time. So yeah, the clears are still really good. My screen is probably lagging out just a little bit. We're not going to open the second breach just yet. But it just allows you to get some really beefy clears. And this is a item level 79 zone, so it's not like we're fishing out some low map. This is a nice high tier, tier 15 map, corrupted all the shenanigans up. So it's just overall, very nice overall build at the moment. Very, very fun to play. And you don't really need super fancy gear. Because I know what you're thinking right now. Don, I've seen the video. I know that you have like a super expensive belt and a really, really nice staff. Well, my really nice staff is over here in my inventory still. So my normal staff is like a 753 PTPS with elemental damage. It has critical hit chance, leech and stuff. But this is a staff that I pulled out of my 2 divine tab that's been sitting there for days. So I do believe that this is, probably closer to 1 divine now or something, even though it has elemental damage with attacks and critical damage bonus. Very, very nice staff still. 431. Don't really need super duper crazy gear. I also have an Ingenuity belt, which I did not have equipped just now. So this does give me some damage bonus for my pretty nice rings. However, didn't have it on. So it's kind of the clear with a little bit less nice gear. And basically what we are doing is we're using Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder together to kind of cover for each other's weaknesses. Herald of Ice explodes enemies when they are frozen. However, it cannot freeze enemies. Herald of Thunder, on the other hand, will bring down lightning bolts on attacks after shocked enemies have been killed. However, it can't shock enemies on its own. And so we use the Herald of Ice to shock, and we use the Herald of Thunder to freeze, and they just cascade out. Because yes, the Herald of Ice explosion itself counts as an attack, and so that drops the Herald of Thunder with it. And so in order to make this happen, well, we're going to try to get as high a level of Herald of Ice as possible. You want to quality this up because that increases the radius. Magnified effect makes it even bigger to spread more. We have lightning infusion here, which cuts the amount of cold damage we have quite tremendously by 50%. However, it basically is tripling the amount of top and lightning damage that I have, which is helping out with shock. You might not necessarily need this if you have a lot of damage or you have like lightning damage from other places, but this made it feel a lot smoother for me. Overcharge increases the magnitude of shocks inflicted, which makes it easier to hit like a minimum shock with some of our explosions. You also might not necessarily need this either, but I felt that this was making it a little bit smoother for me, especially on the maps that have like ailment threshold, for example. And then innervate is very, very fun because this makes it so that attacks gain 35% of damage as lightning damage, basically extra, for 3 seconds on killing a shocked enemy with supported skills. So when you do a Herald of Ice kind of cascade going out and it's killing enemies, you're getting 35% just more damage as lightning for all of our attacks, which counts Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder, counts our, all of the other normal attacks as well. So it's just a nice little boost while stuff is dying, more stuff is happening. We're putting Cold Mastery in here just to give ourselves a little bit more damage. It's not really big, like 200 more here on the lightning top end, but this is kind of just a better spot to put it than in our Unbound Avatar up here. You do not need this to probably be a 6 link or even a 5 link. You could probably get away with it otherwise. Let me D&D real quick. So and that is my overlay here, the Overwolf overlay for trades, by the way. I know a lot of people were asking in the comments. So Herald of Thunder, this basically, it cannot shock. And what this does, like when I was first looking at this and holding Alt to see what the quality does, I didn't see anything, but it's over here on the buff. So lightning bolts strike the target of your next 2 attacks after killing a shocked enemy with attack damage. So that goes from 3 enemies to 5, which is pretty nice. So I'd recommend quality that up. We'll put glaciation on here to make it so that you're more likely to freeze with Herald of Thunder. And that's like basically what we're here for. With Herald of Thunder, we need the freeze. So this is very nice. And then long shot makes it do more damage when it's farther away from you. And ambush makes it do more damage when it's hitting enemies that are on full life. Both of these are going to increase the likelihood that it is going to cause a freeze. And just like with Herald of Ice, we're using Lightning Mastery just to get a smidgen more damage here. Now, the problem with this is that, well, we would really like to use Cold Infusion a second time here and put this down here on Herald of Thunder. Right now you can see my top end for cold is 2,000. If I put this in, we go up to 4,000. However, Cold Infusion is very nice on Ice Strike. So I personally don't want to do that. However, if you're really struggling to make this work, one of the things you can do is go and put Close Combat down here on Cold Infusion and then put Cold Infusion on Herald of Thunder. I don't think Close Combat is going to do anything for you because it's not near you when it's exploding on Herald of Thunder. But the problem with Close Combat is it has a tremendous 40% increased mana multiplier. So we're going to go from 51% mana here all the way up to 71, which is just kind of a pain. I don't really like that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to do that. And it's working for me right now, so I don't need to do that. However, if you're having trouble with getting this to chain, then that could be a big thing to help you out here. You can also make sure that you're using Unbound Avatar. So what this does is basically give us a buff that lasts quite a bit of time. This doesn't actually show this amount here. So this is like 14 seconds, maybe even longer here. And what this does is we have 40% more elemental damage, 40% more elemental buildup, and 80% chance to inflict elemental ailments while unbound. I'm not really sure what the chance for the part is there. However, just 40% more freeze basically, or more shock, and it really does make it feel like you're cascading quite a bit more. Also make sure that you have Herald of Ice qualityed up. That is pretty important, especially having a magnified effect. You probably want to avoid maps that have monsters have increased ailment threshold, because that makes them harder to freeze, harder to shock. You can remove the Cold Infusion that we talked about. And then lastly, I'm allocating right now Doomsayer on the tree. So there's really only 2 Herald nodes, and we're already taking this one over here, Coming Calamity, which makes it so that we have increased cold damage and increased lightning damage now. This basically helps out a little bit with the cross damaging that we're doing. But what Doomsayer does is increases the AoE of Herald skills and the damage. And so this can help you out a little bit with just having better proliferation and better damage with them. Obviously, there are still better things for straight up damage, and you probably don't want to take this if you're already struggling to kill normal stuff. And if you really are struggling to kill normal stuff, you can just go back to using the polcirkeln ring. It's totally fine. The main reason that we're using this now is because A, polcirkeln can be kind of expensive, and B, I don't think polcirkeln is going to fit in our Ultra Endgame update, which is not going to be, it's going to be like getting really, really good gear. And part of that really good gear is going to be getting an Ingenuity belt here, which is going to be in a further update. This will not be in this current update because this thing is very, very expensive. Costs me like 30 divines just to get a 77% base. And then what this does is it makes it so that instead of having 2 rings and a belt, we basically don't have a belt, but now we have, this is a 1.8 ring and this is a 1.8 ring. So we have 3.6 rings as opposed to 2. And so we can go out and get really, really crazy rings that kind of look like this. We have like cold res, cold damage, life, intelligence, cold res, lightning res. And then we can put quality cold modifier on here. It increases this line, this line, this line, and this line. and really just gives us a lot of power and a lot of juice just from a singular ring. But it is something that is going to be in the ultimate endgame version, not something that you need for this point right here. Now, I do think that, one last thing I forgot to mention is that we are switching over to I Am the Thunder as well. I felt like this was a little bit smoother for the build, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier in the video. However, this does create areas of shocking ground, which makes it so that enemies are just like shocked a little bit easier. I kind of found like shock was a little bit hard to apply, and this just really did feel like it helped smooth out the build a little bit. Worst case scenario, you could also go and put points over here into Essence of the Storm to give you a little bit more lightning damage, also give you increased chance to shock. And I think Essence of the Mountain does help out quite a bit here as well, but you could try like switching between the two if you're really struggling to kind of make the whole thing work. But that's pretty much it for the build update. Another really tiny preview thing for the Ultimate Endgame Edition is we're probably going to be taking advantage of Time Lost Emerald in this spot here. This is a 3 out of 4 Emerald, I would say. It's not even really all that good. But as you can see here, it makes it so that all small passives in the radius give us increased elemental damage. The notables give us increased critical strike damage. The notables also give us attack speed. And then that very last one should be something beneficial, like attack speed again, with quarterstaves, or elemental damage, or crit chance, or something. But we just don't have a good one yet. And finding these is incredibly painful. However, if you want to go and start digging through the rubbish bin of Time Lost Emeralds now, this might be something interesting for you. One thing to note, there is one of the mods here is increases the radius out to large or to medium. That does allow you to kind of get these points in range. I didn't really find that all that useful. Maybe if we were taking these as well, didn't really give me more damage. And there's also one that makes it so that increases the effectiveness of the nodes in range. However, since some of these are very low number, like 30% attack speed, this is giving me like 1% more attack speed. And then this giving me like, 3 more critical hit chance. It really wasn't making all that big of a difference. And maybe it's something that they could possibly improve. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the current build. I'm having a lot of fun with it. We'll be able to get rid of the polcirkeln ring. I plan to probably replace both of these rings and maybe my amulet and gloves and even hat and try to just go full rarity at this point. As you can see, my resistances are very lopsided right now and very ridiculous. And so it's really kind of want to like try out rarity and see how that feels and just kind of push an end game. Hopefully you guys have been having a great time. Hopefully the build guide's been helping you out. Feel free to come by the stream and we'll see you soon.